What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another car review. This is of course the 2020 Lexus RCF Track Edition. Huge thanks to Lexus for providing us with this very rare and very sweet RCF Track Edition to review for you guys today.
Also, huge thanks to the Automotive Video Association for arranging this vehicle and 7 others for our 3rd annual Automotive Video Awards, where we decide what is the best performance car and performance SUV of the year.
So about the Track Edition, well, that is the new thing here for 2020. The whole RCF lineup is refreshed here for 2020 and gets some nice improvements of its own. But the Track Edition here is ultra rare. Only 50 of these cars are coming to the United States. This is one of 50, so I mean extremely rare. It does come at a big premium of about roughly $30,000 over a regular RCF. And so anyway, the special stuff here for the Track Edition, it's pretty obvious. But so a standard RCF is already going to be 55 pounds lighter for the 2020 model year, thanks to some improvements it gets, and then this goes and reduces another 121 pounds off of the vehicle. Obviously you can see it has an exposed carbon fiber hood that makes it much lighter. You have a carbon fiber roof and also a carbon fiber rear spoiler and rear diffuser. All those things make it lighter, and I also love this matte gray paint you have. Looks very cool. Also you have these headlights that are new for 2020 that look very menacing. You also have these sportier, lighter wheels and the carbon fiber front lip. Just all these things really enhance it. It also has a much lower ride height. It really looks hunkered down and ready for track use, and so that looks awesome up front there. And I mean, the RCF has always looked very cool, very bulging fenders and stuff. And then going out back, like I said, you got that very large, very obvious rear spoiler there that, you know, does actually provide downforce, is functional. Again, all this stuff is set up for, you know, making it a livelier and better handling vehicle in every way. And so I'll talk more about some of the other mechanical changes once we get out on the road. But out back there you have some tweaked taillights here for 2020 as well on all RCs, and those look fantastic as well. And so yeah, overall I think this RCF Track Edition definitely stands out, even though it's in this subtle color. Just all the carbon fiber and everything really makes this jump. Right, so the interior of the RCF Track Edition, well, it's very, very sweet. Mostly the same as a regular RCF, but that is still a very great place to be. So anyway, first thing, sitting down in these seats, you have obviously these very bright red Alcantara seats with some leather accenting, which is also red. It would be nice to see one or the other be maybe black instead to kind of balance it out, but it's still, it definitely makes a statement, and they're great seats. So there isn't any kind of adjustability or anything, but I mean, you do have, of course, the standard adjustments and lumbar, but no kind of adjustable bolstering or anything. But the bolstering is fantastic the way it is, as long as your body type you know, is good with it. But me being a fairly thin guy here, you know, it grips me really, really well still, and so really nice beefy bolsters there. Next is the steering wheel here in the F version, which is very great. It has a nice thick rim to it, but not overly thick, just has a great 9 and 3 grip still. Nice little 10 and 2 notches like the red on the bottom, and then you just have a couple of buttons on, and then paddle shifters on the back here. And the paddle shifters, they still, you know, I wish they were a little more realistic feeling. You know, it's just this like metal coated plastic or something. I mean, they feel okay, but not amazing. Next, though, are the gauges here in the RCF, which are the same great Lexus gauges you see in any other F-Line or F-Sport or anything like that. And they're really good looking, though. I love how you have a tack front and center there, and I love the different looks for it as well. So, you know, Eco mode even looks cool, and then the Sport and Sport Plus look even more exciting. And then even the normal mode, though, looks very good. I love the digital speed readout in the middle of it. And then you just have a little analog speedometer there, and then you have on the left-hand side there, you know, some of your basic trip info. It will also display media and things like that, which is nice, as well as an F little menu there, which doesn't give you a lot, just basically a lap timer and a G-force meter. Would be nice to see some temperatures or something displayed there, aside from just the standard temperatures you have there above there that are always displayed, along with the fuel and stuff. But overall, a very nice gauge cluster, and you know, yeah, it has been around for several years now. It's not the freshest look, but I still think it looks very good and has aged very well. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, one thing that hasn't aged quite as well is this infotainment system. So it still is basically the same setup. Menus and stuff are, I think they got a revision here a year or two ago, and it looks okay. I do like now how you have this menu thing here at the bottom instead of a home screen like you used to have. And it all works very well for the most part. I do like that it has Apple CarPlay now. I'm glad that they have included in that. But you know, like even just changing radio stations still takes way too long. You know, just even like with Sirius, it's even more complicated, because before you can actually go into radio stations in just a normal list, it's like, well, what genre do you want to listen to? So you got to hit genre first, and then go and look through your radio station, and then click it, and then it's up there. So, you know, it does have a tune knob, which is nice. So that is one way to, you know, go through them if you'd like. But if you want to do anything more advanced, it's a little complicated, unfortunately. But otherwise, you know, it still works well enough. I've used the system plenty in the past few years in other Lexus products, and after a while, you do get used to it, but definitely not the best. And I am excited that, you know, the RX now for 2020 is going to get a touchscreen. I really hope that other Lexus models follow along with the touchscreen. This is a little bit of a reach, so I don't know if this one will make the change over before, you know, the RCF gets a refresh or a redo version. But, you know, still, like I said, works well enough. Otherwise, you know, you have your regular climate controls with this little capacitive touch thing that actually works pretty well. Nice feeling volume and tune knobs. They kind of have like a ceramic feeling to them. And, you know, then just a few buttons down here. You do have a launch mode button now, which is very cool next to the mode selector. And that's about it. So they kept it pretty simple, which I do appreciate in these luxury vehicles. When many of them have tons of buttons everywhere, I do like that this is nice and simple. One thing, though, that isn't too great feature-wise is storage space here in the RCF. So, you know, you have a pocket here in the doors, but it's not big enough for a bottle or anything. Coming over to the center, you have this little slot, which I guess is for the key. That's about all it fits there. And then you have just two cup holders, which are normal size. And then you have a center armrest, which has more of this red Alcantara and feels pretty soft. And you open that up, and then you have, you know, a decent amount of space. I'd say it's on average for the class of vehicle we're in here. And you also find two USB jacks, an auxiliary jack, and a power outlet all in there. So great to have all those hookups, but just would be nice to see some other bin or something. But, you know, we are in a sports car, so not a huge deal. I will say it is very nice in here, though. You have like the red weave and the carbon fiber, which is awesome. You have like nice soft padding by your knees here, which is something that even a lot of more expensive vehicles don't bother with. So I do appreciate all that kind of stuff. So it feels pretty plush in here overall. Backseat in the RCF is also actually fairly usable. So I'm 5'9", me sitting behind myself. I actually have a little bit, you know, about a finger's width to spare legroom wise. So it's a close call. If you're any taller than 5'9" for the driver or the rear seat passenger, you're probably going to be cramped. But anything at that threshold or, you know, shorter, you're going to be okay. I do actually just barely clear for headroom as well. So, you know, a decent back seat for a coupe. You could use it in a pinch, but I wouldn't use it every day or anything. There aren't any kind of cup holders or bins back there. You do have air vents, which is nice, and then just a little tray there for I don't know what. But, you know, like I said, it's a decent back seat for a coupe, and so just nice to have one. Trunk space in the RCF is pretty good. So, you know, it's a fairly long trunk, pretty wide, and not too deep, but again, as far as coupes are concerned, it's, I'd say, on par with the rest, pretty average. But let's start up and go for a drive. The RCF here has a standard Lexus key. For some reason, this one has a 6 sticker on it, but that's just because of the fleet stuff. That isn't like a numbered thing or anything, but, you know, just the basic buttons there on the back of it. And so anyway, it's keyless access, keyless entry, and push button start. So you just leave the key in your pocket, hit the end to start button, and it nicely roars to life. All right, so setting off here in the Lexus RCF Track Edition. So, first thing you notice, well, probably the more aggressive damping that you have here on the Track Edition over a normal RCF is probably the first thing you notice. So it's, you know, the more, it's the adaptive dampers, but they're definitely more aggressive in their tuning of it. Everything in this vehicle has been kind of fine-tuned here for the RCF Track Edition version. So it all makes it livelier. You have a torsion limited slip differential in the back that's got more aggressive tuning. You get a shorter final drive ratio here as well for 2020 on all RCFs, I believe, and so that will make this a little bit more sprightly, I guess, than what you would get with a normal RCF from 2019 or earlier. And so I'm just noticing I can feel a lot of the road here through these wheels. Now the tires aren't anything special. It's still the fantastic Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, but they're the same tires you get on a regular RCF. So the Track Edition doesn't have any kind of racier tires or anything. They're 255 wide in the front, 275s in the rear, and so, you know, I just feel a lot though through the steering wheel and everything. I think the steering's a little quicker too, because this is very darty and very eager to want to dive in. Other things though, just cruising along at some low speeds here. Like I said, visibility is great, pretty thin A-pillar, and nice large side windows. View out of the back is pretty good. That spoiler actually doesn't take up too much of your view, so pretty good setup there. And yeah, otherwise, you know, it still is a very comfortable and just easy thing to drive. But I'm going to go ahead and put it up into the Sport Plus mode. And let's turn down onto the straight road here and see how it does. Here we go. Man, it actually laid some tire there. And then it takes off. Man, this thing flies. And I love, so this runs that glorious naturally aspirated 5-liter V8 engine, and it is just, it gives you so much induction noise. But anyway, it makes 5 more horsepower here for 2020 in all RCFs. So now it's 472 horsepower and 395 pound-feet of torque. And so for the track edition here, it'll actually do a 0 to 60 of 4 seconds flat with that launch control, but it's very complicated. I kept hitting the launch control button earlier and it wouldn't go into any launch mode, so I'm not sure what's up with that. But if you do figure that out and, you know, pour through the owner's manual to figure out how to do launch control, then it will take off, you know, with a 4-second flat 0 to 60 time. A regular RCF would do it in 4.2, which is still plenty quick as well. And let's do another acceleration. Yeah, this thing flies. And then the traction control light comes flashing on as well, because this thing, it definitely is more lively. And I think they actually retuned that limit slip differential to give you a little bit more of a tail happy sensation than you already got with RCFs. And so this is really, I mean, everything is so sharp too, especially in Sport Plus mode. It'll hold on to gears. You're running an 8-speed automatic transmission with a torque converter, but it is very responsive, and I love this engine and this transmission combo. It works very well. I tested that in the GSF, and in that it's just as marvelous as it is in this. But yeah, this thing, it flies. And then you got these nice big carbon ceramic brakes here on the RCF Track Edition, and those really help to haul you down to a stop much quicker than even standard RCF brakes, which are already very, very strong. So yeah, everything, it really, though, this thing, you can tell it's begging to go around some corners. It's as much fun as the straight line stuff is. So let's go around some corners and see how it does there. Alright, so now I'm just in sport mode here, and we're about to hit some tighter corners, and let's see how the handling is here in the RCF. So, pitching it in here, and it's pretty flat. It definitely feels like it wants to move around though, especially on this road with lots of undulations and little off-camber segments and stuff. It really, this car, it feels like it wants to drift, honestly, is what it feels like. This thing's like, it feels like it's set up to be a drift car, honestly. So yeah, the one nice thing is they did drop the weight, like I said, 121 pounds over a regular RCF, which is already 55 pounds lighter here for 2020. And so that means that these are roughly, I believe the weight figure is about 3784, and so that's still, I mean, it's pretty light. I think it's right in line with what you get with M4s and stuff like that. So I think the RCF has always been a little bit heavier in the past, so I think this kind of evens it out and makes it so that it's right in line with the rest. And obviously you have a lower center of gravity with the carbon fiber hood, especially the carbon fiber roof, and then the extra downforce there with the carbon fiber rear wing. And so going around corners here, it's just an effortless process, honestly. I will say the steering is a little oddly light. I thought it would get a little bit heavier here, but in sport mode here, it still is pretty light. This is a nice tight corner, taking some speed here. Yeah, if I booted it, it would totally kick out on me, I think. That's just how it feels. It feels like it's on the edge, like it's always wanting to step out. This car would probably be very interesting in the rain, I'm guessing. Although you do have pretty good grip with those tires. Michelin Pilot Sport 4s are good in the rain and stuff. But it just feels like it's just the way they tuned it, that shorter final drive and everything. It just really wants to step out. But this thing is great. And then you have that nice milky V8 too that kind of always gives you a good amount of power. Now obviously it doesn't have a ton of torque. It does like to be revved out. You know, the red line's over 7,000 RPMs, but you know, it just still feels good. And you know, the transmission will give you a downshift when you need it. But by the way, we can actually try out the manual shifting here. And you can always feel it's a very torque converter type sensation. Not in love with that. But you know, it's okay whenever you actually are attacking a road. So it does pull, and it'll hold gears and everything, which is great. Yeah, see, second gear now, I'm going around these tighter corners and I can feel it desperately wants to drift on me. I mean, you have traction control, stability control and all that on, but it's still just, it just wants to be thrown. It just wants to, It's so neutral too. I almost feel like a torque vectoring sensation going on. I know that the RCF, the regular one, you can now get a torque vectoring limited slip differential on those. I think this is a different type of limited slip differential from what I read. But whatever it is, it doesn't matter because it's very, very, very responsive for sure. But we'll go ahead and go into the Sport Plus mode here, and let's try some manual shifts here, see just how quick it is. Yeah, see, this is where it's great. So if you're going full throttle and you're paddle shifting here in Sport Plus mode, it is very responsive, like the GSF that I remember. It is very, very snappy. It's just when you're not in that mode and you're not going full attack where it can feel sluggish. So it just depends. I guess use the paddle shifters if you're really going to go for it. If you're not, just leave it and drive and let it do its thing, and it'll figure itself out pretty quickly. But yeah, this thing is fantastic, and these carbon ceramics are impressive. That's probably the biggest upgrade from the normal RCF, and I think that's probably, obviously that and all the carbon fiber is where your $30,000 upcharge roughly comes from. And yeah, thinking about an RCF being in the 90s here for the track edition does sound like a lot, but when you consider what other manufacturers charge for carbon ceramic brakes, carbon fiber roof, all the carbon fiber hood, the spoiler, all those types of things are big pieces of carbon fiber. That's all pricey stuff, so I don't think this is unfairly priced. And honestly, because of these adjustments, it really feels like a go-kart now, especially with the suspension being so aggressive and stuff. It definitely, I think if you're going to actually track your RCF and you're not worried about it being a collectible, this is definitely the way to go. Obviously, if you do want to collect it and have it, just collect dust, then you can do that as well, since it is very rare and probably will hold its value very well. All Lexuses usually hold their value pretty well anyway, so this being so rare certainly should. But I would definitely think it's a shame to just not drive this, because this is a fantastic vehicle. I know they have sold, I think most of them, but I think they might still have a few available. So if you're watching this video shortly after I've posted it here, you might get lucky if you call up your dealer or Lexus and inquire about one. You might still be able to get one of these. I just have to add though that the steering is light, but that really gives you a very quick turn in, and it's uncanny for a vehicle with a big V8 engine up front, just how fast this thing turns in. I mean, this darts into corners like just as fast as a Toyota 86 or something, and so you have no indication that there is a big V8 up front there. Anything, the muscle car vehicles, the Camaros that handle very well, and the Mustangs and stuff. This definitely has such a lighter feeling nose than those, even despite the fact that it has a very similar sized engine up front. So I think, it's all that carbon fiber up front, and just the tuning changes and everything to just make everything stiffer. It is definitely stiffer, but it loves to turn in. I mean, this thing dives into corners unlike any other V8 powered vehicle that I can actually remember driving. I mean, it is very, very eager to dive into corners. I love that about it. I think that's one of its best attributes. It really does feel like a V8 powered go-kart without feeling like it has a V8. It's really pretty crazy just how well this thing handles. And so yeah, I'm really impressed with all that. I mean, like I said, you have excellent grip here from these tires, so everything just gives you very, very high limits, and you just feel like you can do anything. I mean, I can only imagine how much fun it would be to track one of these things. I mean, it would just be so potent, I think, on track. But anyway, yeah, so huge thanks to Lexus for providing me with the RCF Track Edition here to review for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts on the Track Edition in the comments below, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.